You're playing a villain, right? You got to have the cat for the Bond villain.
It's true.
Yeah.
Look at that face. It's fierce.
All right. Hey, everybody. We're live. Thanks for joining us. We've got Stasia and Brian joining Dawn and myself for some Brains and Brawn today. Brian, also Fight Guy Studio, is the creator of this game. But to kind of help showcase how easy and simple this game is to get into, Brian's going to play today.
Yep.
And Stasia is running for us, and Stasia has never played or run this game before.
Yep.
She's got some DMing experience in Dungeons and Dragons. I think that's it. Not a whole lot else outside that.
Yeah, mostly Dungeons and Dragons. I've been a DM for 2.5 years now. I started literally like a few months before the pandemic started. So it's been a fun trip. I was playing in person for the first while, and then we all went digital. I have missed running for people, but D&D is my primary experience. But I'm slowly trying to like branch out and do other stuff. Primarily seen like over on my own Twitch channel, where I do bi-monthly like quick starts. And I basically like pull up a quick start for a given game, and I give like kind of feedback as I read through the rules. I talk about like, oh, this seems like a pretty useful mechanic, or like, I think I'd probably change this if I ran it. And so I just have a bit of a talk to the chat and then talk to myself for like an hour or so. But other than that, I do create some fun tabletop RPG content for 5e. I'm currently working on a project for some Halloween-themed stuff that'll be dropped in about a week and a half before Halloween. I'm also working on like some other stuff, like creating a newbie DM guide with a friend. Because I love D&D. It's what I cut my teeth on. But it's not always friendly to new DMs. So that's kind of our goal, to work on that project. But yeah, that's kind of what I do. I just have fun and paint minis. Sometimes we see like a whole bunch of them behind me. They're unpainted right now because they're not in their special box when I've completed painting them. But yeah, I'm excited to do this and talk about this game.
Yeah, Dawn and I are kind of in the same boat with the D&D is not necessarily friendly to new DMs, and so we have a bunch of podcasts on ourselves about tips for DMing, but also tips for players and just ways to make the game kind of more fun and flow and just make it a little bit easier on everyone. So we got kind of a little bit of the same wavelength going on here.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I am always on my Twitter, and I'm just like, this is something that we could like do to change it to make it more accessible. Because I think that was actually what connected us, was that like I had shared a thread where I had talked about the importance of quick starts, and I was like, this is super important for me as someone who gets intimidated about like not knowing the rules, because I've cut my teeth on D&D, where you can get a lot of crap if you don't know the rules.
Fair. It's true.
And so like there's intimidation about it, and so yeah, I for sure love when there's quick starts, and I'm like, make the rules as simple as possible, or like give me the bare basics and the rest are bonus rules I can apply. Will make it way more easy of a transition to get it to the table in the first place.
So what we're going to start with, before I let Brian kind of give a little bit of a history and plug his own socials there, we're going to do kind of a quick start walkthrough here live. So we're going to be doing the character creation and the story setting, just so everyone can kind of see how that works for the system that Brian has created. So we're not jumping right into a game. We don't have characters created yet. We've been given a little bit of information about what kind of style game, so that way we could brainstorm a little bit, so we're not sitting here in silence on the live stream doing any of that. So we've got a little background, but not a lot. But before we start doing that, Brian, go ahead and plug yourself and give us a little bit of history about why you created this game and what you like about it.
Sure. Well, and I mean, y'all were all talking about quick starting and getting people to get in on that, and I decided to bypass that and just create a game that's easy to get into. It doesn't have quick start rules. It is a quick start rule. So back in my early 20s, late teens, I was doing stupid stuff, and I got either 10 concussions over a 12-year period or 12 concussions over a 10-year period. I forget. Either way, I forget everything. I call it Swiss cheese brain. And when I got back into role playing, because I started back in the mid 90s, second edition Advanced D&D, second edition Shadowrun, Marvel superheroes like the old face rip system.
Yeah.
Got into college, played a little bit, went into some Warhammer stuff, and then just flaked on role playing. I hadn't played a game for decades, and I got back into it a few years back, 2.5, and because I was on the road all the time for my job, and I was always listening to Critical Role, just while I was driving from here to there, because Alberta has a lot of driving, and I, as a mental exercise, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna create a world, and so I'm sitting in the hotel room, eat my dinner, think of a god, take a shower, think of a city. And I thought, man, this is really cool. I wish I could play this. And so then COVID happened, and I got together with a bunch of friends, and we started playing D&D, and it was great. But I get bored easy, and I wanted to try Call of Cthulhu or do Shadowrun again. And I started picking up these books and looking at them, and I get 2 pages before my brain fizzles, and everything goes away, and I can't remember what I'm reading. And so 200-page rulebook is just never going to happen for me. It just isn't. And it's not fair to ask my players to go get the Call of Cthulhu book and the Investigator's Guide or whatever it's called, or and start reading all these rules and learning this big system that I'm going to play with them once or twice, because we try other stuff. And so I started looking for a really simple game that I could learn and I could play with whatever genre I wanted. I found a bunch of different ones. I found Lasers and Feelings. I kind of like that, and we ran it a couple times, but I thought it needs a little bit more. And so it's what started as a hack for Lasers and Feelings. Now I say is loosely based on, inspired by Lasers and Feelings. And I came up with Brains and Brawn, which is based off of a lot of the same details. And the Brains and Brawn system is 2 pages of rules. Important for me. Genre agnostic. And as I'm looking at stuff, I'm thinking, well, what if I wanted to play superheroes? I can do it with these rules, but it would be better if I had a few extra rules. So I began creating expansions. So you have Brains and Brawn is the main game, and all the expansions run off of that. Valiants and Villains is my superhero one. Roamers and Revenants for zombies. Lawmen and Lariats for Old West. And so each of those expansions will work with the game system. They use those rules. And then you can say you wanted to have a zombie game in the Old West. Well, you can take Roamers and Revenants and Lawmen and Lariats, put them together and run that as well, and use all those rules. And so it can get as crunchy as you want, but it'll also be as simple as you want too. Yeah. And I always, it's you can see it on the shirt. Tell more tales. Less rules, more tales.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And what do we refer to our GM in this game? What do we refer to them as?
She is our tale tailor today.
Okay, gotcha.
She's going to tell us some tales, and we're going to tell them with her.
Yeah. And if we run out of time, there's always next week.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh,
but I need the alliteration, right? So TT. And so yeah, it's Stasia. You've been reading this for
probably about an hour and a half over the last day or so, and I'm just like, we'll have fun with it. What is a game if to prove how easy it is to get into if it can't be read in like maybe 10 minutes when you actually have the chance to focus on it between your day job?
I told people, I've been telling people, and maybe I'm being a little bit overly positive here, but I've said, 5 minutes to learn the rules, 5 minutes to create a character,
Yeah.
playing, and I try to make that as simple as
Mhm.
possible, but to make sense as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you can find Brian if you look at
Oh,
the
yeah.
little overlay on the screen here. Is that
Sorry.
Fight Guys? It's all right. It's all right. No worries. Fight Guy Studio on Twitter. As he was mentioning, there's also an itch where they can download the rules for this game and the expansions, right?
Yeah, actually, the easiest way is to just go to my website, which is fighterguystudios.com.
Sweet.
And that I've got a link to itch. You can get an itch drive-through. You can get it on Coffee. I think there's links on the webpage that take you to the itch. So if you see one that you like, you just click it and it will take you right over there. I try to make it as simple as possible for people to go download my game and send me money.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. It's always nice if you want to send me cash. So
Yeah.
but
I mean,
you don't have to. Everything's pay what you want. So
Yeah.
if you think it's worth $1, give me $1. If you think it's worth $100, give your head a shake. Give me a couple. Like somebody gave me $20 for the game, and I'm like, man, I need to get that money back. I don't know how to get a hold of this guy.
that's okay though. That just shows you how much they really appreciate the time you spent working on it.
Absolutely. And I, what I appreciate anything. I always joke, somebody gave me 20 cents once, and I took that as oh man, they must be having hard luck right now. They're between jobs. They're barely making do, but they went, oh my God, Brains and Brawn, I love it, and gave me what they could.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I love it. I hope they're playing it every day.
Yeah, for sure. It's always nice to see when people actually purchase our stuff. It's a really great feeling. I have a few things published on the DMs Guild, and so I've been very fortunate that I've been part of some great projects of it. But I get very excited when I see that there's one project I have that's I think 10 sales from the first medal that you can get, and I'm just like, I want it so bad. But yeah, it's very validating when people give to smaller creators, because then the money's going directly to them.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, and even better, it's actually going directly to other creators, because let's face it, we're all sharing the same $20.
It's true. It's true.
I get $20. I'm just divvying it out to other people until they get $20, and then they'll give it back to me. So it works out nicely.
I'm not gonna lie, all of the DMs Guild sales went to buying other people's content.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Yeah, that's the other thing that I do. I also teach new players to play D&D. So if people want to learn how to play D&D, I'm super newbie friendly, and I have some stuff available on my Ko-fi. Same hashtag of our username, DMStasia, because I've managed to luck out with that on multiple sites now, and I'm just well, I guess I have a moniker.
See, now I'm worried. Is it Ko-fi or coffee?
I call it Ko-fi, but people call it different things. I'm
I've heard it so many different ways.
I mean, the main thing on there is buy so and so a coffee. So
yeah,
that's where I went from. But
yeah, but yeah, so I do that, and I also if people want to learn how to DM, I also have some stuff available for purchase on there. And so I just have fun with getting to teach lots of newbies how to play D&D. That's a story for another day, but I have players going nuts in the AL world. I'm running Adventure League for them, because what better way to be super newbie friendly than to be you can drop in for one session and return 3 weeks later.
that's fair.
Best thing D&D did was make AL, quite frankly. But yes, did you all have more questions for our lovely guest? Because otherwise I have more.
No, yeah, go ahead. I think it's good that you ask questions since you're running with it.
Bulb. I should have a light bulb hanging above my head and sit in a chair leaning backwards.
I think that one's a quest giver.
So one of the questions I had was like, why did you end up picking the D10? I know that initially this game started with D6, but I saw that you later changed it to a D10.
Yeah, so Lasers and Feelings was D6, and I thought, okay, well, originally it was a hack, right? So D6 was really easy. I made the Brains and Brawn. I made Roamers and Revenants on D6, and it was all working good. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do superheroes. I loved Marvel superheroes back in the day. I'm gonna do a superhero one, and I started doing it. And I went, man, I need more numbers. You know, I need a bigger range to make this make sense. I also found that people were playing. Everyone was a 3 or a 4 all the time. All characters are 3 or 4, and so by bumping it to that D10, now I go from 3 to 8, and so I'll get a lot more variance in between, and people can feel like their character's different. And you can have you could all 3 of us could have the exact same stats and come up with 3 completely different characters. But it's nice to have that range. So it just made sense to me. So I turned around, I pulled the D6 version offline. I threw up the D10 version, which is what I prefer. And then after I given it some thought, I thought, there's a lot of people. Anybody can get a Yahtzee. Everybody's got a Yahtzee. You got D6s. They're easy to come by. And so I put the D6 version with Brains and Brawn and Roamers and Revenants as a twin pack up online for free, so that people who've never roleplayed before can pick it up and they can play. And if they go, wow, this is really cool, they can go to their local friendly gaming store and buy some D10s and explore more. I've had a few people ask me if I'm doing all the other expansions of D10, and no, that's a lot more work. I don't want to do it. I'm not touching that. So if you like it with D6, the rules aren't that complicated. You can figure it out. But otherwise,
the other sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please.
The other beneficial thing about having the D6, it's nice to have this D10 option, but to have the D6 available is that it's actually more difficult to access the different types of dice outside of North America and parts of Europe.
Yep.
Absolutely. Now I will say, and I think it's on here. Yes. So when I talk about it in the game, the first page. So I always say that it's 2 pages of rules, but every book is 4 pages long, and usually that's because I got a character sheet and a couple notes on one side, and then I've got stuff for the theme on the first page. And on the first page of Brains and Brawn, I do have kind of a primer on what role playing is. Talk about what role playing is. Explain that you need friends. In lieu of friends, you could just go kidnap 3 people and tie them up in their basement. I don't suggest it, but do what you got to do to play a game. And I talk about needing 10-sided dice, and I even talk about it. You can get it. You need 3 or 4 of them. It's great. Can't go to the store. Go to the Google.
Yes.
And type in roll 3d10, and the Google will roll 3d10 for you.
It's true.
So you can play even if you don't have dice. The Google is, and I do know it's called Google. Don't correct me on the chat here. But the Google is awesome because it does that for you. In my D&D campaign, when I'm hitting my players with 3 fireballs at the same time because I'm a jerk that way, I just go into the Google and say, roll me 18 d6, and it gives me all the numbers, and it's a lot of fun that way.
Yeah. It's just as satisfying that way. When you can watch it all just roll, and then I know you have to click it sometimes for the dice to stop rolling, so you still get a little bit of the joy. And
there are so many dice rollers. I figure if somebody doesn't know anything about dice, give them the Google, and that's easy. But there are so many dice rollers out there that I don't think dice, and that's why I don't mind doing the D10. Dice aren't an impediment to playing. If you play the D6 version, you're like, oh, this is cool. I want to play sticks and stones and be a caveman and ride a dinosaur. Cool, let's do it. Just roll your dice online or on an app.
Gotcha.
So let's see.
I am working on a travel version that uses quarters.
Oh,
but that's on the list, and the list is exceedingly long, so that may be a while before it comes in.
Is your special dice equivalent going to be use a dime?
No. Quarters. I have big fingers. I'm not flipping dimes. I am working on it. That one was kind of a I wonder if I can do that, and I think I got the numbers to work, but like I said, that's a ways out.
Yeah. Well, that answers one of my questions of like what was in the pipeline for the game.
Everything. All right, so my eventual goal or short-term goal, I am working currently. I'm kind of toying with well, right now I'm working on the con, and I haven't talked about the con, so I will talk about the con. But right now I'm kind of playing with a Space Cowboys, Firefly type game. My eventual goal, though, is I want to come up with a Cyberpunk expansion, and then I'm gonna do an addition to that that's for the Matrix, an addition to that for like Samurai and Cyberware, and then I want to come out with some magic rules and maybe some like summoning rules, and then I want to come out with some small supplements so you could have elves, dwarves, orcs, trolls, and I want to put it all together and play a Shadowrun game that I'll enjoy. The Shadowrun rules, as they are written, aren't the most popular rules out there, so that's my goal.
The lore is great. The
lore's
system,
great.
Yeah.
So that is my kind of my goal. But every time I come up with something, like I was going to work on that before, and then I thought ghost hunting, that'd be fun. So I created Hauntings and Hoaxes, and before that I was like, oh man, I'm going to work on it now. I was like, well, cowboys would be neat. So
that is the by far like the creator trouble. Can confirm, like every time you get an idea, you get 5 more, and you're like, but I need to finish the first one.
I go through and create a new logo for everything, because the first thing I gotta come up with is the name, because the names have to be specific, to the game.
Yeah.
Right. It's one of the hard and fast rules about anything. So I go come up with a name and I create the logo. And you go into my Illustrator file, and eventually I'm going to have to actually break that Illustrator file up, because it's starting to slow down my computer, because there's like dozens of them all ready to go. And eventually I'll get to all of them. To make life really exciting, I'm opening up a newsletter right now and creating, I don't know if y'all seen the zines online where you print it on one piece of paper and then you fold it up and it makes a book.
Ooh.
So I just released one of them as a teaser. This is the second one that's going to come out, that you have to be on my newsletter to get this one.
Nice.
Or a membership on Ko-fi. If you sign up for the membership, you get that.
I have made the impression.
I will never call it coffee again.
And I might just for fun.
just to mess with people. Now, do y'all mind if I pimp out the con real quick?
Yeah, do it.
Go for it. That was actually part of the reason. I'm not sure about the connection, but that's part of the reason we're doing this, is to help for this con, because the walkthrough, the plan hopefully is to take this walkthrough we're doing, like probably not all the stuff we've been talking to up till now, but when we get to the walkthrough part, they're going to take that to help kind of show at the con how easy this is to go with. Yeah. So the hardest thing is building the community, and I want this to be a community. I want people to be excited about it and play it and talk about it and what have you. So I'm doing a virtual convention, October 15th. We'll have 5 sessions throughout the day. They start for my time and for y'all's time, 5 a.m. I'm a little farther east, so 6 a.m. But that works out nicely, because my friends in England and Europe, it's 1 and 2 o'clock.
Gotcha.
And so we'll have 5 sessions that start and go throughout the day, so everybody can play. Doesn't matter where you live. If you live in Japan, it's a little more complicated, but free games. I've got a bunch of telltellers. I'm hoping to have 2 or 3 tables per session. Mm-hmm. And you can sign up and you can come out and play for free, learn how to play it. You're going to get some swag, not physical swag. I can't give out t-shirts and bags because
we're virtual.
But you'll get some virtual swag. You will get, I've got 3 really awesome guys. and I cannot remember any of their handles, but I will post it. I post it all the time. That are writing adventures, so you'll get 3 custom adventures for some of the games. There's gonna be door prizes. I've got partnerships going on with a bunch of different vendors, and a lot of them are offering up really cool door prizes, and those actually will be physical things that we'll send out to you. So it's there's no reason not to come. It's all on Discord. It's super simple. You're gonna log in. You're gonna come in. I'll tell you what table you're at, and then you go play a game for 3 hours.
I need
If you want to come in the morning and play 5 games, please, by all means, come in the morning and play 5 games. You still only get 1 drawing for the
That's fair.
door prizes, but come out and play. I've got some people who signed up for 3 or 4 games. I've got some people who are like, oh, I can only be there for 1, but I want people to play the game, because I think once you play the game, you're gonna go, this is cool, and then you're hooked. Yeah. And then I can start charging actual money for my game, and you'll have no choice but to buy it. It is a work in progress, but no, it's super exciting. Lots of people who are going to be involved in it are really cool people. The vendors are amazing. A couple of them are doing some custom stuff just for the con.
I'll need to pick your brain about this, because I've always wanted to attend a con, but I've never been able to. So I'm excited about a virtual one. By the time I was finally thinking, hey, I'd kind of like to go to a con, the pandemic hit.
The world happened. Yeah.
So I'm personally really excited. I think I signed up for at least the mailing list for it. But I'm going to confirm that I did, because sounds right up my alley. And it would be fun to attend.
I'm hoping it's gonna be fun. I told everyone who said they'd run a game, I'm like, it could just be you and me hanging out for an hour. But actually, I've got there's somebody at every table but the first one and the last one, which makes sense because they're kind of the extreme times. But yeah, no, it's I'm giddy with excitement.
All right,
As you should be. It's no joke to plan a con in the first place.
And I'm making this all up as I go along, so we'll see how it goes.
Precisely. I'm like, I want to hear your insights after it, because I'm like, that just sounds like a lot of fun. Like, one of these days I need to attend a con in person.
Poor Jeff is sitting here going, okay, guys, let's okay.
No, we're good. I was just gonna ask, so you may have said it already, but I missed it, so chances are other people may have missed it too. But when is this happening?
October 15th.
October 15th.
Yep. Yeah. And if you go to my website, fighterguystudios.com, there is one section down. It's basically just the main page. But go down and there's actually sign up for the con. And you click that. It takes you to a Google form. You put in your email address, your name. I've got the sessions listed out, and I've actually got them listed out by timing. So you can see what it's going to be at 5 a.m. LA, 6 a.m. Calgary, 8 a.m. New York, all the way out to Tokyo. So you can figure out what time you want to go.
Gotcha.
And sign up for all of them. Sign up for one of them. You can join the mailing list if you want to. Most people have, so I got to start coming up with cool stuff to start sending people. But yeah,
that's the creator's dilemma. You start getting traction, and you're like, "Oh, great! Now, how do I do this?" Somebody
signed up for my Ko-fi membership. I'm like, "Oh crap! I've got a member. I got to do something cool now." So I'm gonna be showering that one person with like everything I can. Here's free stuff. Here's more free stuff. Here's more free stuff.
That creator dilemma of like, you need to make something more after is very real. I actually have a binder that I'm slowly filling with like a list of ideas that I have going. And I think I'm up to probably 60 or so ideas of like things I want to do in the future. And I'm like, okay, I know I can't do all of these right now, but I keep coming up with like, and the worst thing is that like, because I run games for new players,
yep.
They are inspiring me because some of them are getting it's the joy of new players where you're like, okay, you've never played this game before, you don't know the limitations, so you're going to try and break the limitations, but in a fun way. um, which I respect because it's different than people who are deliberately trying to break it.
At DGG, we actually had to trim everything down because we found ourselves with 0 time.
Yeah,
we're like, we're gonna get this done in September, and I'm like, dude, it's the end of September. What happened?
It never ends. It's
yes. I'm very excited about like all these projects people have planned. I'm just like, I want to see all of them succeed, and like some of them I'm just, it's like, you have to hold off on them because you're like, I need to wait a little bit longer to like do this justice.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the hard part because you want to do it all right now.
Why do you think I have a list where I can go and be like, what do I want to do right now? And I have like mainly 2 projects that I'm working on. Bless Brian, who's, you might know him on Twitter as Jark the Bard. He and I are collaborating on that newbie DM's guide. And so it's a nice, fun intersection of like, he does a lot of DM tips, as you know, and my thing is I love helping new people get into the game. And like pretty much like a live feed of our conversations go, oh my God, why did they make this so complicated? But back to our game. I sidetracked a little. My bad. The creator's dilemma. It happens.
Yep.
So I got 2 questions, I think, before we jump in now.
Yeah, I'm ready for the sponsor.
I got one from the chat that's just kind of a good icebreaker to get up there that I wanted to throw out there. So one of the questions in the chat was, what do you want to be when you grow up?
It's too late. I'm up.
I like that answer.
I don't know. I'm still a teenager, but I'm gonna be 40 in a month.
I'm gonna probably break a little bit of a cardinal rule of my I really enjoy my day job as a whole. I do not see making the transition into tabletop RPG design as like my potential living. I'm like, gotcha. I like it as a hobby. I could see myself doing it full time, but I don't know if I really want to make that kind of commitment because I know what's involved once you make your passion your work. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it then becomes work. Mm-hmm. And I want to keep it as a passion. So if I'm teaching, I'm like, I'll be fine. But I want to be a lawyer when I grow up.
Sure. I just never plan on growing up. We're just gonna put that out there.
I'm with you there, Jeff.
I will live forever because I will be young forever.
We'll just all have fun and play games.
There we go.
I would love that. I just also it's just an interesting thing where I admire people who are like, I want to make this my full-time thing. And like, I admire it. I support you fully. I just know that for me, I'm like, I feared the passion changing and then having to try and reinvent. And so I'm like, well, I know I have this other passion I really like, and that one will pay me.
All right. So the other question, Brian, is there a story behind Fight Guy Studio? Or
kinda. I'm looking at my old poster. So back in my teens, I joined the SCA. If you don't know what the SCA is,
absolutely.
The nice way of saying it is it's a medieval reenactment society. The true way of saying it is it's the longest running costume theme party.
Yep.
In the world.
Yep.
So one of the things I started fencing, and then I went into heavy fighting, which is basically you wear medieval armor or close to it. Mine was all steel and leather, and you beat the tar out of each other with these big, thick, heavy rattan sticks. Yep. Which sounds it's not as hard like oak, but it still leaves welts and breaks
Did that
bones.
maybe add to these concussions?
It was most of this for the concussions. I got hit once, and I went and sat down for 30 seconds, and it turns out I sat there for 30 minutes, and I don't remember any of it. So,
ouch.
So that's where kind of Fighter Guy Studios came from. It originally started out as a leather workshop, which I still do. So I do there's leatherworking. I do art. All the fighter guys are my characters that I've created. This was I don't know if y'all can see that, but that came back when I was doing it for the SCA. And so it stuck. And I've had multiple business names. When I was looking at doing some barbecue stuff for a living, it was Bees' Barbecue. I almost ended up with a food truck, which was going to be called Bees' Grilled Cheeses, Melts, and everything else.
That's amazing. You can't
was suddenly
beat a good grilled cheese.
No, it was suddenly this. They threw it out and they're like, "Hey, we have this truck here. Sign this contract." I'm like, "Ooh, hold on." The leatherworking is kind of where it started. For a while, I merchanted in SEA. I've got old Indian, from India tapestries that you see at Spencer's Gifts and stuff like that. I've got like boxes of them that I used to sell and stuff like that. So I kind of did that for a while, but it's just stuck with me forever. The little knight guy on the main book, the main Brains and Brawns book, is BK. I've been drawing him for decades now. So he's my mascot. He's the black and white knight on the black and white horse, which is a joke that I will not tell y'all because I want you to like me, and we only have another hour, ish to go, and it's the short version would take us past the time. So just know that there is a joke out there. My friends used to, make me tell it to people they didn't like. I think it's hilarious. I am the only one who thinks it's hilarious. But it's been here for a while. So yeah, it's Fighter Guy Studios, been around for a long time, and I just figured, you know what, let's do it for reals.
Nice.
Awesome.
Very nice.
All right, so I think now we're gonna go ahead and jump in.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start with the character creation. So our tale teller, what is our setting? What are we creating?
Oh gosh. Okay. So it's like, I've been thinking about things this entire time. So my setting, I think, we're for sure going to go with the initial premise that Brains and Bronze has of you all are on a 007 style spy mission. And to really embrace the thematics of the genre, you're definitely going to a volcano island lair.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Your characters are all super spies, and who knows, maybe somebody is like a really disgruntled rival among here, where you're like, I can't believe I've been assigned to like work with this dude. I might as well just leave him for dead in the jungle. But yes, that is for sure the setting. I think that's kind of like a good start for what we're needing to do when it comes to character creation. You're spies. You're going to a volcano island, and you gotta stop a villain from probably unleashing some sort of massive weapon on the world.
Okay. All right, so we're going to kind of walk through the rest of this here now that we kind of have an idea of what we're doing as players. So the first thing on the list is to pick a number, almost any number.
Well, and a name.
Almost in there. Well,
yeah, you got to pick a name first.
Did the name come first?
Yes.
Pick
a name.
Actually, no.
Maybe, yeah, I was like, the one I'm looking at has number than name.
The book, it's not in the Twitch thing. I got it.
The overlay.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Oh.
Doesn't matter. Name can come first, number. I just wanted to start with number. I'm just going to go right down the list on this. So pick a number, and this is where the number is between 3 and 8. And if it's a higher number, you're better with brawn. And if it's a lower, if it's your physical attributes, and if it's a lower number, it means you're better with your brains, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. So I thought about this in advance already, and I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna split the difference. I'm gonna go with a 5. So I'm gonna go with equal bronze and brain.
So does that mean your name is going to be Norm?
Don't tempt me.
Norm man? Normal human?
Oh God.
Sorry.
I'm embracing my Bond villain again, and I have.
Danger Cat.
Yes. This is Nora, for anyone who is curious. She is a little butt. She's squirming right now, but if the moment I put her down, she's going to look at me like, why did you put me down? I didn't want that.
In typical kitten fashion. I think I'm gonna go with an 8 and be the brawnier dude.
Okay.
Oh, we got a normal guy, big tough guy. So I will be the smart guy.
Ooh.
I will be the guy in the chair.
Let's see. So, what are your characters' names?
Let's see.
I am Rupert Danger.
Ooh.
Names are a difficult thing sometimes.
Okay, here we
The
go.
instructions say pick out your name first.
Okay, guys. So, Alan Verge Joe, also known as Average Joe. You're welcome.
Did you see J Farms on chat? Norm Howe.
I almost went with that until I got this one popped in my head. I was going to do it.
So I think because my guy is this huge brawny dude, his name is going to be Hank the Professor Simmons.
I love it. I'm like, when do I want to drop my villain's name for you all? I'm like, do I want to tell you this as you're preparing to enter his lair?
The options.
It is truly the options. We will let the Bond cat go, so I can focus on it. Cool. So I am just glancing at this real quick. So my friends, how are you arriving here at this volcano island?
I think one of my boons I'm going to go with is a vehicles proficiency, a vehicles expert. So since we're Bond spy villains, I'd say we have one of those boats that can change into a submarine and back to a boat.
Nice.
So we're in this, or I'm driving this under the water. That way we can, we're going across water at first. As we get closer, we're going submariner that way to not be seen, maybe approaching this island.
I love it. I'm like,
Boons.
oh, I guess that's also a question for Brian. Should people pick out their boons and banes beforehand, or should they just have fun with it? Like we're kind of going with it.
We can do that. I am a big fan of picking the boons and banes from the beginning. Forget the character, don't make it too easy. If you do that, it's like, oh well, I have a boon for that. I like to choose them early. I believe in building the character from the beginning, and then you know what? You're not going to be good at everything. Some of those boons are never going to come in. Some of those banes are, it's if your bane is you can't swim and you don't know about it, but the telltale is starting you off in the middle of the ocean in a boat / submarine going to a volcanic island. Hey, you know what?
Yeah. So Alan, you went with vehicles as one of your
Mhm.
boons, rather. So you have, I think, 2 more, and then I'm making notes for myself so I know which ones to call peeps on. Rupert, what are you leaning towards? I'm giving Alan another minute if he needs it.
I know Rupert is good at electronics,
Okay.
at computer hacking. He's a secret agent, so he can use a pistol.
Nice.
I'm not sure what my other boons are, so we get 3 boons for those watching at home. We get 3 boons, and then those are your skills. Your banes are things that you're bad at or negatives. So the first 2 banes you choose each gives you an extra boon. So if you come up with 2 negatives, you get 2 extra boons, which is great because it gives you a lot more to play with. So I know that my banes are I'm a bit of a coward, and I am allergic to freaking everything. You know those people you invite them over to dinner and they're like, "Oh yeah, I can't have wheat or shellfish or peanuts or
He's allergic
strawberries."
to a lot of things.
I'm allergic to cats and dogs and goldfish and the sun. Yeah.
And the sun.
Love it. So 2 of his boons were his hacking and electronics, and then the other one, give me a sec, I know it. The other one was pistols.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. So that's 2 of them. Are the electronics and hacking 2 different things?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And then
you can add in running as my 4th boon. I know what side the bread's buttered on. And great memory.
Cool.
Almost photographic.
Okay. Did you come up with a couple others?
So I've got the vehicle expert. Also, focuses in the hand-to-hand combat where necessary. They're a quick thinker.
Okay.
So they're quick to come up with a solution, and quick on their feet. But for one of the banes, they're also a little bit of an overthinker. So they tend to avoid the obvious solution for something a little bit more complicated.
Love it.
And then their other bane is that they have to have corrective lenses.
Glasses, I love it.
That's amazing.
And so my other 2 boons from those banes are I put down MacGyver. This may be dating me a little bit, but
yeah, I think I'm like the youngest one in this chat.
There was an old show about guys, like I think his last name is MacGyver. He would just fix and create things out of just random stuff that's laying around.
Yeah.
There's apparently a new show that came out a couple years ago for the youngsters.
Yeah, they rebooted it.
Did they? So yeah, just kind of fixing or creating what's needed of like random supplies that are around.
At least that doesn't date our references too much.
The other one is I was trying to think of what the put on there, so I kind of put deja vu, as in thinking about he's a little bit hard to catch because there's like kind of like that 6th sense almost sometimes that kicks in, like when you're about ready to hit that tripwire, you don't see but you stop. So kind of like a little bit of luck, maybe, I guess would be a better way to put it.
I like that. What about for Hank?
So Hank, being kind of the more buff guy and brawny and more athletically adept, his first boon is parkour. He's also fearless, and for my third one, because I thought it would be fun, interpretive dance.
I love it.
Hey, you got to do something to keep those muscles limber and be able to,
I
stretch out
already
and do
know
things.
what I'm going to do for some of these boons.
For his Banes, he's socially inept and has a bad memory. And for his fourth boon, he's good at demolitions.
Okay.
So do we have as the antagonistic part within the group now, the good memory versus the bad memory?
Yes.
Where they argue about what they remember?
Okay. So we actually have two with like a good memory because Rupert also has a good memory. So basically what I'm hearing is that I should not put any puzzles in here.
Oh yeah, you should. You should totally put all the puzzles in there. Especially ones that blow
I'll
up.
only give them to Hank.
Do not split the party. Do not split the party.
Oh, is this a game where you can't split the party?
No, you can split the party if you want, but I need Hank. I suspect he's good to stand behind when the bullets start flying.
I love it. So we've picked our number, we've picked our names, we've picked our boons and banes. Have you all picked your equipment? You can assume that like you have your special gadgets, but is there a special one that you really like using?
Alan has this multi-tool watch. So it's got
Swiss Army knife watch?
Yeah, a little Swiss Army knife type watch. Got a little multi-tools for just about any situation that might come, and it also tells the time.
Love that. Is it digital or analog?
Analog.
Love it.
Can't risk the screen going out or the battery or something and not being able to know what time it was.
Analog would still have that issue, but okay. I say as like probably one of the few people who like wears a watch to work. I hear the little battery ticking whenever I'm leaning against my hand. Hank, what is your special equipment?
I have to say he's got this really nice like old school James Bond style suit, but it's like super stretchy and waterproof. Like it's just damage resistant, and that's the only thing that he's actually managed to remember on this trip.
Love it. Well, he is right of this group, so
I'm gonna take a suggestion from the chat as well, and duct tape.
Duct tape.
Just
okay.
A roll of duct tape.
I'll roll with it. Hear my jokes and appreciate them. And then Rupert, what's kind of yours that you're thinking of?
He's got a little pocket computer, electronics repair kit, his pistol. He has glasses that you can press a button and they turn into binoculars.
Ooh.
I like it.
He has a pocket protector that will inflate as a flotation device. A first aid kit because when stuff happens, and a mini can of WD-40. That way, between average Joe and me, we can fix everything.
That's true.
If it doesn't move and should, WD-40. If it moves and shouldn't, duct tape.
Duct tape.
We're good.
Love it.
The duct tape secretly for Hank so he doesn't talk to people.
No, I have a little fidget spinner for Hank when we don't want him to talk, so we just give that to him and it distracts him because it's shiny.
And he forgets he has it, and then he looks at, oh, where'd this come from?
Starts playing with it again. Awesome. So I think that's a good chunk of our equipment. So that takes us through like a good portion of the first bit. The next looks like it's how we adjudicate the rules. Ooh. Do you want to give the chat a primer on that? Dear Brian?
Nope,
Wow,
you got yourself muted, Brian.
Hey, there we go.
There we are.
That's good. You couldn't hear me cussing earlier. No. Anytime you do something that has a chance of failure, you roll a d10. Every time you get one d10, no matter what. If you have a boon that it comes into play for this, you add a d10. And if you are prepared, you add a third d10. So if you are setting up an ambush, you get the extra one. Yeah. If you have the right equipment, you get the extra one. When you roll if it's equal to or under your number, and it's a brains or a brawn test, you succeed. If you're rolling against a brains test, you have to roll either equal to or over your number. So I've got a number 3. So if I'm trying to punch somebody, that's a brawn skill. So I would roll and I don't have fisticuffs or anything, so I'd roll my 1d10, and I rolled a 10, so I totally missed. If I am trying to program a computer, it's brains, now I want to go over, so I would have at least 2 dice, because I have a boon for it. So I got a 4 and an 8, which means I got 2 successes. If you get no successes, you goofed. It's gone bad. And it's gotten worse. Like, you didn't just fail, but you've made it worse for yourself.
The equivalent of a crit fail.
Essentially, yeah. It's the no, and it's gotten worse. If you get 1 success, you've succeeded, but you've probably made it a little more complicated. The example we use in the game is Agent Peace is trying to escape in his car, and he fails. So not only does he not escape the bad guys who are following him, but now the police are chasing them too. So it's gotten worse. If you have 2 successes, you did good, you've succeeded, everything's great. And if you have 3 successes, it's a yes and. Yes, you did good, and now it's even better than you could have been.
Yes, love it. I did not realize that I skipped a portion on the stream, that there was like another window you all had. I was looking at literally my own screen that had the sheet open, basically, where I could view it. Because there's also like a few ways that you can like help your friends with like helping hands and ties and such. Yeah, I did not mean to skip that on you.
Actually, before we do that, there's one other thing, because I said that you have to roll either above or equal to, or under or equal to, depending on if it's brains test or a brawn test. If you roll exactly your number, so my number's 3. If I roll a 3, not only is that a success, either way, whether it's a brawn or brains, but it also means you're on a roll, which means you can take an extra die, set it to the side, and use that at any time for any other test during the game.
Nice.
So you can actually roll up to 4 dice if you're in a good situation. If you're in a really bad situation and you only get 1 die, hey, if you got an on the roll die, you can roll 2 and you double your chances of succeeding. The key here, though, is you can only keep 1 on a roll die at a time. Gotcha. So if I don't use it my next roll, I don't use that on a roll die, and I roll my number again, I don't get an extra one. I just keep the one I had. If I roll my number twice, I get 1 die. So you want to use it, but you also want to make sure you have it available for those big emergencies.
Yeah,
life or death. You want to have that die. So when you use it or not is up to you. I guarantee you will always either use it or not use it when you most. You won't have it when you need it, whether you use it or not. So
resource management.
Yeah, it's resource management.
The great balance.
Since you mentioned helping hand, I'll just run through this last little bit, if that's okay.
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay.
It.
So if we want to help, say Hank is trying to force open a door, and I'm like, woohoo! I'm going to help him. I am going to make the same roll he does. So if it's a brawn roll, I'm going to make a brawn roll. I get 1 die. Period. Just 1, no matter what. If I succeed, that adds a success to Hank's roll.
Gotcha.
So most likely I'm not going to help you with that door. but I'll try. I'll make the effort, right? And so anytime you want to help, you can do that. The one caveat is the telltaler. You have to tell how you can help, because if you can't really help, then no, you can't help. And it's up to the telltaler to decide if you can or not. But you gotta let us know before you roll as well. Say, oh, I'm gonna help with that really quick. Ties. Heroes always get the ties. Take that, telltaler.
That's cool.
And then there are going to be, sometimes there's contested tests. So a contest is where you're doing something directly against somebody else. So if you're having an arm wrestling competition, you're both trying with Brawn. So you both make a Brawn test. The person who gets the most successes wins. If you don't get any, then you're tied up and still fighting over it. One of the things with contested rolls is if you're in a fist fight with somebody and it's your go and you totally whiff it and they get like 1 or 2 successes, you can take damage from it.
Gotcha.
Or put in a worse situation. If you're trying to wrestle somebody, well, suddenly you're in a headlock because they did so much better than you. So contests are dangerous, but it happens. And then initiative, you roll a d10 and add your number. Easy enough. If it's a tie, again, heroes always win. If it's a tie between heroes, you can decide where you go. So if we, me and Hank, Jeff, is it Joe? Is it Average? Is it Verge? What do you like to
Alan.
be called?
Well, he goes by
Alan.
Goes by Alan. Yeah.
Perfect. Say it's Alan and I both roll, and we get 6. We decide between each other who goes first, and then if you want to go later in a turn, you can always choose to take a lower number and go later, but you stick at that number after that.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
I like it.
I'm making plans.
And so then
Telltaler is considering things.
Yep, absolutely.
The next thing I see is actions per round.
Yep.
As characters, we get 2 things per round.
2 things per round. 2 attacks, 2 movements, an attack, a movement. It's not specific. Like, if you want to say something, I'm not going to say you only get to say 2 words. But you keep it on average. But usually, yeah, if you want to do something, you can do 2 things each time.
Yeah. Gotcha.
If you choose to make one of those a movement or both of those a movement, movements, a movement can change distance depending on where you're at. If you're in a super crowded room with lots of people, your movement may only be 5 feet. If you're in an open field or in running, maybe you can move 50 feet, and that's up to the telltaler to kind of decide how far you can go. I always say that the telltaler has final say, but you should decide together. I know a lot of times when I'm playing, I'll ask them, well, how far do you think you can move?
Gotcha.
Maybe 10 feet? Yeah, okay, let's go with that. Telltaler gets to make the final decision, but we should all be working together. And then physical damage. When you do an attack, the expansions will expand on this greatly. That's one of the biggest things in the expansions. But for the basic game, for every success you get on attack, you do 1 PD. And your PD starts out at your number. So Hank's got 8. Rupert's got 3 hit points, essentially. And there's actually on the character sheet, and we can bring that up to show people, there's a physical damage wheel, and you just follow that wheel around as you take damage.
Nice.
If you reach 0 exactly, you're injured. And when you're injured, you lose 1 die for all your Brawn tests while you're injured. You can choose to take one of your things that you do each round, one of your actions, and you can make a Brawn test. And if you succeed, you get 1 point of physical damage back. If you succeed on your number, you get 2. And then once you go below, you fall unconscious. If you choose to have a death mechanic in your game, some telltalers don't like it, but the rules are there. You roll 2d10 Brawn. If you fail on both, you die.
Yep, that makes sense.
Good for anyone who has a brainy character.
Yeah, that's why you get behind cover really quick. And then you can wake up an unconscious character. You make a brains test using if you have a first aid kit. If you have a boon, you can make it with up to 3 dice. And then for every success, the other character gains a PD.
Yeah, I can tell that the most difficult part for this will be me figuring out combat. So far, I've figured out a couple of I've figured out a couple of like some NPCs. Nothing too deep.
The nice thing about it is it's always self-contained. What I can do is based off of my character. You don't have to ever think of a DC or a specific test. If I can do it, I can roll it, and I know whether I'm going to succeed or not based on my sheet. So it takes a lot of pressure off of the tellteller because you don't have to say, okay, roll, but if you get a 4, you succeed. Because let's face it, we've all played 5th edition, and half the time you tell them to make a roll, and you don't know the number until they make the roll. You're like, well, that succeeded. Good job. It leaves a lot to the imagination. Whereas here, you know what? If you roll below your number for a Brawn test, you succeed.
Yeah, my cardinal rule for that by far is do not use a die roll if you don't know what you're going to have if they don't pass.
Yep.
It's a lesson that lots of people need to learn.
Yeah. I also really like in this system, I like degrees of success and degrees of failure. That is because 9 times out of 10, when you try to accomplish something, it's usually succeed at a cost, or there's always like varying degrees of how well you do something.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Don, can you bring up the character sheet again on the display for everybody? I want to point this out again. Brian talked about it, but I think it's before we went live a little bit. But the design here is really simple, but helps you out. Like there's a little spot for the on a roll to put a die or some sort of marker there to let you know you have it or you don't. That damage wheel is real easy to read, and you're going clockwise increasing, counterclockwise decreasing. Intuitive. It's gonna make sense. And you just have the brains and brawn on either side of your number, so you know what your number is. If it's brains, you got to go under it. If it's brawn, you got to go above it.
Yeah,
there's never a question about. Yeah, it's just like it's right there. It's simple. It's straightforward, and there's no confusion in there.
I had to write it and put the arrows because when I just wrote it in big letters on either side of the number, people still got confused. So there's little arrows that even show you under or over.
I see that. I didn't notice that before. I see
that damage wheel. I'm not going to swear to it, but it's very possible as this game gets played more and more often that there will be little plastic tokens with an arrow that you can rotate around. I'm just saying, if that's something you're interested in, talk about it in the chat. Say I should do it because I gotta pay for the design costs, so it doesn't do me good if I'm the only one buying it.
Right.
Fair enough. Yeah. So the key here is that if like your higher score, for example, is brains, you would still want to roll under it, correct, to succeed?
Nope. You roll over for brains.
Oh wow, that seems very. My brain is trying to like click on it, and I'm like, I'll get there.
Once it clicks, the first couple rolls, I will tell you, the first couple rolls, everyone always questions it. First couple rolls, and then suddenly you're just going to get it. But if you have a character sheet, every expansion has a character sheet that are made for that expansion. So, like, if there's a mental damage component, it's on there. If for the cowboy one, lawmen and lariats, there's actually a little block for your horse's stats. So you have your horse's stats and his physical damage meter. So when you're looking at the character sheet, it says it very clearly. Brains roll equal to or over. Brawn roll equal to or under. And it is right there for you all the time. Because, that is something that people get confused at first because it's something no one's done before. Most, unless you played Lasers and Feelings, it's a new mechanic. So out of all the ones, that's kind of the one to learn. I still every once in a while get confused. I'm like, okay, he's gonna be really strong, so I need a 3. Wait, nope. just remember your physical damage. The higher it is, the higher your brawn, right? So 8 is the highest physical damage you can go. It's also the strongest you can be. So anything rolled under. So you have an 80% chance. Hank's got an 80% chance to punch somebody if he wants to punch someone.
Yeah,
Because it's 8 or better.
I'm gonna address the chat real quick and say, yeah. So George, because I know that's George there, you got it right. Looking at the character sheet that's up there, you see those little arrows that Brian was talking about. So on brains, that arrow is going upwards. So for brain, you want to roll equal to or over. Arrow going up, roll over.
Roll high.
Brawn, you've got that arrow kind of coming down underneath, equal to or under.
I'm just so scared of like, okay, so you automatically do with your boon, you have a D10 plus another D10. And then it's another D10 if you're prepared for it.
Yeah. So it's like you're not surprised, like falling or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not
one of the boons I gave my villain.
And I always say, like, with the the prepared, it's not even just a not surprise. Like if I'm gonna the example we use in the book is Agent Peace is set up in a sniper's nest. So he is set his sniper's nest up. He's got his gun on a tripod. He's waiting.
Mm-hmm.
He is prepared.
Yeah.
Going, okay, I'm gonna punch this guy. Well, you're prepared, but you haven't done anything to prep for punching.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that wouldn't be a prepared die. So a prepared die is the easiest way to describe it is an ambush. You are set up. If you have a first aid kit and you're doing first aid, you're prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So you get that extra die. If you're being, somebody asked me if there was advantage, for like surprise rounds. No, that's not a mechanic we have. But if you're get surprised by somebody ambushing you, they're going to get that extra die on that first round,
mm-hmm.
which is terrifying. Because I have 3 hit points. So if they are good at what they do and they've surprised me, I can drop immediately. It's a dangerous game. Like the biggest thing is balance on this game is people who play 5th edition. Oh, my character's got 99 hit points, and you have to roll a natural 20 to hit me. That's great. You're going to last a long time. Here, you don't quite have that longevity. So you do want to be very careful with those hit points. I watched one of my players one-shot a saber-toothed tiger. And the only reason they got to one-shot the saber-toothed tiger is because I rolled really bad when the saber-toothed tiger attacked him. And that could have been it for the character, like that quick. So it is definitely a lethal game if you play that style game. Most of the games I've been in, we haven't lost many PD at all because they've been more role play based. But if you want to have a lethal game, it's lethal. And some of the expansions have armor and rules for that, which make it a much more sort of survivable game. But the basic game, yeah.
I'm gonna try and step away from my initial plans of we're going to do some combat-y type stuff. Well, we're going to embrace the roleplay side of this and see how you guys still get to utilize your dice for your various skills.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with combat in this game.
Yeah.
You got to pay more attention. It's instead of taking 2 shots with your 2 things that you can do, maybe you shoot once and hide behind the corner the second time, so that nobody can shoot you. You gotta. Bullets are a lot more lethal in this game, which they should be, honestly. Dungeons and Dragons, if you hit me, I don't care how good with a sword I am, if you hit me with a sword, I'm going to die.
Mm-hmm.
So, just because I'm good at a sword doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be able to take more blows. So it's balance. It's balance.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes for the next half hour. We'll do some little playing on we'll see how we're feeling about it of getting to the penultimate encounter with our villain.
So I thought about it, and instead of that boon being lucky, I think if this elicits groans, then I feel like I've won. But he's instead of that, we're gonna be hashtag blessed.
Love it.
Just that person that just things happen to, and you're like,
just goes over.
Yeah, they find the $20 on the ground. They trip, but don't spill their coffee.
I had a character. We were playing Roamers and Revenants game, but I had a character who could see into the future, and so I got a prepared die at certain times. So yeah, it's a boon that you can absolutely do. That's it just depends on how nice the Telltaler is. If the TOT's only kind of nice, you know.
And as we know, I already have a fun boon for my villain who can
absolutely
do something a little nasty.
Now, I
Right.
did warn you before we started this stream. I can talk forever.
Yes.
So, but
Hey, that's okay.
We did go through the rules and create characters in about 30 minutes. We just chit chatted for the first,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I was just kind of point that out. We had everything created. We've had extra chit chat. We got a little extra time, so I think we can dive into a little bit of the story and set the scene and do a few rolls maybe, and then we'll pick up the rest of the story next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah.
Yep. Sounds like a plan to me. That way we have time at the end for, you know, breakdown and plugs and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So, Telltaler.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you three are super spies who have been tasked with going to the lair of an infamous villain, a certain Mr. Draven Mercurius. Nice Bond villain name. I slipped on that.
That does sound like a Bond villain name.
Yeah,
it does. That was excellent. Yeah.
And you've arrived at his Volcano Island lair. So far, I know that we were talking a little bit about one of our characters having a vehicle proficiency. Go ahead and break it in for us. You've heard that this villain is here. You know he has some unspeakable weapon that there's absolutely some hidden timer, and you have to probably go and disarm it.
Okay, so making a vehicle proficiency roll to get to the island unnoticed?
Yes.
So is this a Brawn test because he's piloting, or is this a brains test because he has to try to plan his way around the most likely way to be seen?
I think it'll be a brains test when you put it like that.
I kind of agree. With that.
I did push that one a little bit. I apologize.
I think brain would work when you phrase it as like you need to figure out how to avoid being spotted, because you're obviously underwater. You can see what you need to see to try and stay safe. So like thinking ahead of it, probably brains. Go for it.
Okay, so 1 for brains, and then 2 because of my boon.
I think so.
So 2d10 for this one.
2d10.
Okay.
Perfect.
That is a 5 and a 2.
Cool.
So I get the extra die because I rolled a 5 and my number is 5, right?
Yep.
So
look at you.
I have an honor roll die, but that is only 1 success, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Hank is going to look around and be like, Ralph, Ajax, this doesn't look like the way to the bar.
It's Rupert. By the way, when you were coming through, did you make sure that you were paying attention for seismic sensors? An island like this would absolutely definitely have those, so they could monitor any eruption activity that was going on below the surface.
So the boat's definitely in stealth mode, but we should be careful if we where we touch down at. We need to find a good location to make sure we're not hitting anything. But we should keep an eye out to make sure there's nothing stationed somewhere close by in the water that might give us away. That's a good idea.
Sounds great, Alfred. Good job, Reggie.
Rupert.
I think Rupert could probably make a roll. I think this would be along electronics for him to be like where would be the best location for this to be located for those sensors?
Absolutely.
Oh.
So yeah, we'll definitely use my electronics knowledge. And I rolled a 4 and a 5, so 2 successes.
Awesome. What's your character's number? I'm just jotting it down so I can learn.
I am a 3.
3. Nice. Okay. Yeah, so that's, yeah, I'm looking at this. We're all learning together, guys. It's great.
Learning.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so with 2 successes, cool. I love it. What, you on a medal or something? Keep up the good work. But yeah, the sensors that you mentioned was absolutely like a good thing to remind our lovely Alan about, so that he could keep it in mind. And that's really something I'll have to think about in the future. This is definitely an improv game. We're going to test improv peeps. So you, with our character who is able to successfully like spot some of these seismic sensors, you're able to guide yourselves past them. And as far as you're aware, you've not triggered any sort of alarm. You know, there's not been any like missile that shot out of the island at you. I'd say that works as a success. You've not been shot by a missile.
It's okay. I'm thinking quietly.
You are able to dock the submarine. Do you raise it up to like the surface level so you can just hop out, or do you guys do like a cool little aquatic swim?
Unless we can find a spot where we can like raise it up where we're kind of hidden,
Mhm.
I think we need to do an aquatic swim. So I'm gonna try and keep a lookout to see if there's any like vegetation like right near the shore of this place that we could kind of rise up and stay hidden. And if we don't find any, then we're going for a swim, is what I think.
Since he's looking, can I use my binocular glasses to try to see a better?
Go for it.
Or should I just help him, which would just be a 1D?
I think the help might be better for it. I'm just thinking because I'm also very entertained by the idea of Hank popping out in his waterproof suit.
All right, so
the tale teller is like trying to figure out like how can we use like this fun thing that this character has.
All right, so this roll for me is just going to be 1d10 because I don't have a boon that helps me search for anything.
But I will roll.
Actually, it could even be a little bit of a. This could actually be a Bane moment because you started posing about like, is there a way for us to be safe about this? Overthinker.
That's true. Do the Banes have like a? This is a question kind of for Brian. I think. Do the Banes have like a gameplay mechanic? Other than to give you boons?
There is not.
Okay.
It could possibly remove a D10, right?
Okay.
But a lot of times it just goes through roleplay on that one.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it would be just meaning that you don't get to roll with your boon after all.
Okay. So I'm presenting a more complicated situation, and so Rupert is looking but doesn't get to take advantage of his boon because I'm making it more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Get to roll some dice for these, and that's like what adjudicates the role play. It's actually really fun with that.
Alex, you're saying a lot of words, but I don't know if they mean anything.
Hank, just keep an eye out for a good place for us to land and stay hidden.
It's time to get out.
I'm surprised Hank's not already like halfway up.
Like trying to.
I refuse to unlatch a seatbelt, and he has not figured out how to take it off yet. When we get there, I'll remove it.
It's one of those ones that you have to twist and then pop, and Hank's just trying to like
child safety
yeah
that pill bottles have.
Oh, there it is. There's a
cutie cat.
I got feeder, so
gotcha.
Yeah, it's that little child safety one. So Hank just hasn't quite figured out the rest of it yet.
You said there would be martinis.
Either in his lair or once we get home. Yes,
But
we got to get to the martinis first.
yes, that baby locked the sub.
Where did you roll with your bane?
To figure out where to land, Alan.
Yeah.
Was it a brains or a brawn roll?
It would probably be a brains.
Okay. So she was giving you the roll, I think, on that one.
Nope, it was you. I just couldn't help. You were making it
more
difficult, so I couldn't help. Yeah.
That's fair. All right.
I'm paying attention.
Sort of.
It's okay, ADHD.
That is only a 4, which is under my number. And since it's a brains roll, that is a fail.
Ooh. Yep. I love this. Our first fail of it all, you know?
Now you're speaking my language, Allie.
I mean, he's getting closer.
Yes. So you were trying to find a place that was safer to basically pop up after all of this fun exploring you've been doing underwater. I'd say that you probably are not convinced that it's even safe to surface.
Okay. I'm not finding anything. I think we're just gonna have to put it in stasis mode and go for a swim.
That sounds like a solid
I'm sitting behind him
Anthony.
going, well, there was that spot there.
Let's do it.
I unhook Hank's seatbelt for him.
Yeah, freedom at last.
There wasn't enough cover in those places. They looked good, but I'm just not sure.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just
be quiet. Hank, what are you doing? You've now been released from your
trying to get out. Let's do this.
I love it. Yeah. Go ahead, and I think this would be a brawn check for you to try and open the hatch that goes out because you are underwater. Yep. So you're pushing up against the water. But I will let you if you tell me how you do an interesting application of parkour, I'll let you roll with a 2 with one of your boons rather.
Sinks the sub. He'll grab onto the hatch and he'll try to wall run, using a corkscrew force to just
I love it.
Come on, double 10s.
I really wanted to use it because I'm like, parkour I know inherently gives someone a lot of strength.
So
oh no.
I'm gonna take a deep breath.
I got 1 success. The other one was a 10. I don't know if that matters, but
no.
Okay, so I've got 1 success. I got a 6 and a 10. It was almost 2 10s.
Oh no, that's always how it goes, doesn't it?
Success, but it's more complicated. Oh boy.
It's okay.
I'm doing it.
Yeah, this is what happens when you're trying to apply parkour underwater. So you're able to, I'd say that you're able to open the hatch, but now water is kind of coming in quickly. How fast are you guys getting out?
Hank, you're supposed to hit the button first. Oh.
It's fine. I'm waterproof.
And you're just half gurgling during it.
Yeah. It's just
I'm
assuming this sub had a moon pool, a downward pool that we should have gone out of. So probably. I'm gonna just step into that before the sub sinks and swim out.
Sinks even further, right underwater.
That's true. Sinks more.
Alan knows we might need a way out still, so if we lose this now, then we might be struggling to find a way out later. So I want to try and use my quick thinker to figure out a way to quickly get Hank either out the hatch so I can seal it and then, not let any more water come in and then go the right way out.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to quickly shout, Hank, look, there it is. Go get it. And kind of push a little bit to try and get so he's definitely out the door, just close the door behind him.
I'm like, huh?
Hank's just out there, just he took a deep breath and then went out, and he's hoping that he'll be good. But yeah, you can roll with your brains for that.
Okay.
Do I get to roll an opposed brains? Because it'll be great.
Let me look. I'm here for all these. Okay. Yeah, I'd say that you could do a contested brain.
I got a 3.
Well,
of course.
I hit
I'd have
both.
to beat an 8.
I hit both ends of the spectrum on my quick thinking. I got a 10 and a 1.
Nice.
So one's a success, and so it's one success. The other one fails.
I love it. I love it. So our lovely Hank. Oh, bless you. You done goofed. You've been pushed out into the water, and because he was successful at this, you were successful in being able to try and shut the hatch behind Hank. Hank, you weren't expecting him to shove you, and you did indeed lose that bit of air you had sucked in. And so you now have to, this would probably be a brawn check to get yourself up to the surface before any unconsciousness happens.
Ooh. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know if I have anything for that. Just the D10, I think. Fearless, I guess, but I don't know if that's going to help much in this.
I think Fearless could help where you're convinced that you're I'm a spy. I've been trained for this.
I got this.
Yeah. Do he got it, though?
We'll see.
And this is Brawn, right?
Yes.
So under, yeah. 2 7s, and I have an 8. So yay!
Yay!
You succeeded. Yeah, so you are able to float up to the surface before you completely start losing the black spots that start appearing when you're drowning.
Starting to see the starbursts in my vision.
Yeah.
Wow, fireworks. I think I just saw a water squirrel.
Alan, you can roll me if you want, you could try and roll a MacGyver to see if you can keep the water from having done too much damage to your ship.
Okay. I'm going to use my on a roll die in this roll, so I get to roll 3d10. Because we need to make sure this thing is saved. And that is a 10, a 7, and a 5 again.
Ooh.
So my on the roll die returns.
Nice.
And
dude.
I was rolling brains, right? So that was 3 successes.
What? Look at that. It's only been 10 minutes of play. So you're able to success. What do you do to stop this from doing damage to the ship so that you can properly escape?
So there's I feel like this submarine has a way to quickly evacuate the water. There's probably grates or something there, and there's a little system that can make it drop slightly so the water drains out. And then a button that also kind of seals that door in case of emergency, so no water keeps leaking through after it's closed, since pressurization and I don't know all the science for sure. That's not my strong suit, but
it's okay. We don't have to actually be scientists. We can. I am leading fully into James Bond movie theatrics here right now.
Right?
there's a button and a lever, and the button keeps the water sealed from coming in anymore, and the lever helps drain the rest of the water, like kind of a slanted floor slightly, so it goes down to that moon port where Rupert has already exited. And so once I evaluate that everything is okay, I make sure I take a little bit extra time because I'm overthinking it here. To make sure everything is in place, that the sub is on autopilot and is staying right where it is and not going anywhere before Alan joins the others probably a few minutes later than they're expecting.
I love it. Hey, Rupert, I'd say that you were smart about this. You were like, before I'm even worrying about this, what did you do to just kind of duck out of the sub while these two hooligans were being silly?
Yeah, I saw this coming. I dropped through the moon pool as soon as I saw him start pulling at the hatch. Just pushed my way, from underneath the sub, and pulled my pocket protector. It inflates and just sucks me to the surface.
I wave at him as he sails by me.
I love it.
When Hank comes up, I'm just leaning on my inflatable, just chilling, looking for bad guys.
I love it. I'm going to say that you were probably the first one out of the sub by far. And so I'll give you a chance to maybe use your cool binoculars if you want to get a good look around.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to take a look. 2d10.
Woo.
With the binocular glasses. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And brains?
Yeah, that would be brains.
1 success.
Woo. Awesome. So you look around and you see that this is a forested jungle island that leads up to the volcano. And you see that there's definitely a beach that your friends can crawl up on. But you're able to see that, there's a patrol going by here.
I start treading water and just unhook my pocket protector so it shrinks back down so they can't see it. And I look around. I'm ready to grab Hank the second he comes to the surface because I just know he's going to come up and make a loud sound.
I'd say that this will be a contested brawn.
Oh, this is going to be bad.
So I burst up from the surface.
Yeah.
All right.
Is the kitten trying to roll dice right now?
Yeah. She if I let her down, she will try to climb back up on me, and she does that by the most painful way possible. So, but she is all sorts of interested in everything on the table. She's.
Right.
I apologize. She's not quite just over 3 months old. So
I got a 7, so that's 1 success.
I got no successes, so I'm just I'm sure the water just sloshes over my face. I'm like, whoa, as you come up and take a huge deep breath.
Hi there, Robert. How's it going?
I love it. I'm doing it.
I may or may not have pulled up a list of all A and R names that exist.
If I have time, I'm gonna go ahead and just move behind Hank.
Oh, did you hear me rolling dice?
I did, but I saw it coming.
Let's see. Cool. I'm like, so if they have a certain number, I have to roll under it for Brawn.
Brawn, yes.
Cool. Love it. Cool. Yeah, as you come up for air and you're unable to keep your friend from making a whole noise about this, you see that the patrol stops and looks out, and they whistle. and you see that the other two dispatch to head further out on the island. Are they going
to your company?
We don't know. So, Alan, you break the surface with your friends. I don't imagine you know about this yet, but you see this island before you. Are you just automatically going for it?
So Alan will break the surface, see if they're both okay, not knowing anything was wrong, just kind of looking at Hank like, the pool.
Hi.
When you leave the sub, when it's underwater, use the pool. When it's above water, then you can use the hatch.
No, you make a really good point, Adrian.
And then we'll start heading to shore.
Sounds good. I'd say that you see the patrol, one of the patrol persons that Hank and me and names. I'm like, his name is Ralph, isn't it?
Rupert.
You cursed me with your bad memory. But Rupert, you and the three of you basically start swimming for shore. You can see that there's one patrol person who I'm going to say that Rupert can see that he doesn't have any binoculars, so he's just like looking out into the ocean trying to see like what they heard.
Okay, so I can kind of figure that they probably didn't see us,
but they heard you probably.
But they heard us for sure. Okay,
yeah.
So I'm gonna grab onto the back of both my companions and tell them, just shh. They heard us. They haven't seen us yet.
Yeah.
Should I try to confuse them?
You know what? Confuse them by being very, very quiet.
So I'm going to grab the our little distraction toy that we give Hank that he's forgot he had. We'll say it's a Rubik's Cube or something this time.
It's one of those rubber potato things that you squeeze and the ears come out.
Okay. I'm going to grab that and squeeze it to make sure it opens up and get it under the water so it absorbs like some water, and there's some water stuck inside to add some weight to it, and then huck it away from us to where it's gonna like make hopefully a loud enough sound somewhere to pull their eyesight away so we can get behind some cover or sneak up on them somehow.
Yeah. I'm going to say that that's probably a MacGyver trick.
Okay.
So,
tater cakes!
Yeah. So you can throw to try and distract them.
All right. So that's going to be, I mean, it doesn't really matter for me. Well, actually, yes, it does matter because it determines what I'm rolling. Brains or brawn?
This would be, I'm going to roll this as brawn to see how far away you can throw from you guys.
All right, I'm gonna add my on a roll die into this, so I'm getting 3d10 again because I feel like this is gonna be very useful and important.
This is important.
And that is 2 successes, a 1, a 4, and an 8.
Ooh, I love that. I love that for you.
The second success came off of the on a roll die.
It's very helpful because you throw it and you can see that the last patrol guy who was standing here hears it, and he does go off to try and find what was making that noise. So from the looks of it, the beach looks empty as you're swimming up to it.
Let's get out.
Sounds like a great idea.
And Hank is just like waterproof when he steps out.
Yeah. I just like shake my coat and the water just falls down.
He's like, that's why I wanted to swim that way. Love it.
Right.
Love it.
So, Remington and Aurora, what are we doing?
I'm gonna find a place where we can hide inside the jungle. But I also want to look to make sure there's no traps.
Sure. Let's see. I'm going to say, this would probably be a. I'm going to say this is probably a electronics check because I'm being creative in how I apply these. And it's definitely brains. You've surmised that this is a smart villain. You already knew that he had like all of those fun like seismic sensors when you're coming up the sub. You're like, this guy probably has like periodic laser traps or something, like nets, triggers that are probably powered by electricity. Like, and also like maybe there's a camera in here. So you're like, I'm going to look for that little red dot or listen for that hum.
Can I lend a hand by using my hashtag blessed, just in case there is something to maybe stop right before it gets activated somehow by mistake? Like maybe I'm able to like stop Hank or something before he triggers something.
Sure.
Okay. So that's rolling 1 die with brains, and I need to get a success. And if I get a success, that adds a success to your roll?
To my roll, yes.
Okay.
I got 2 successes.
Okay, stay on the table. There we go. It is a brains roll, and I did not get a success. That's only a 3.
Two's okay. We're good with 2.
2 is good. 2 is what the name of the game is. So your bless does not come into play. You don't catch Hank before it, but that's because,
there's nothing there.
Rupert's on it. He's like, I know exactly where this is. And he actually spots a camera and is able to like go and deactivate it so that it doesn't see you guys going through any of the trails in this area.
All right. And we are right about our 2-hour-ish mark. So I think this is a good spot for us to cliffhanger it for next time.
We're in the jungle, and who knows, maybe there's like a panther here, maybe there's other wild animals. I am slowly leading into the tropes.
A lion that is sleeping tonight.
I'm not worried about panther.
Dance.
We have a Hank.
I like it. All right. So next week, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, same channel, same bat time, same bat channel, all that. We will pick up the play from here and see if this group of well-trained Bond-ish spies can succeed in their mission.
We're all gonna die.
So
we are
thanks.
doomed.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. We're gonna do before we log off and everything, we're just gonna start with our tale-teller, just a quick little social plug where people know where to find you.
Yeah, so I can go ahead and I can actually throw a link in the chat if you give me 1 second.
Go for it.
Because who doesn't like a good plug? So I'm Stasia. I do a bunch of like game related stuff. Mainly I do like game creation. I do, well, not game creation. I do 5e supplements. But
That's
I do
still
that.
creation.
It is, but I'm not game dev. Like, that's the difference here. I focus primarily on teaching new players how to play D&D. And I do lots of like fun stuff with it on Twitter. I actually have a Ko-fi that I have to be better at advertising, where if you want me to teach you and your friends how to play D&D, I'm happy to run both one-shots and mini campaigns. Those are available through my Ko-fi. And I'm trying to think of what else I do, aside from Nora knocking over all of my stuff. I do more of these quick starts. I don't necessarily do the like game running portion on my channel, but it's the same handle that I have for Twitter, DM Stasia. I stream usually once or twice a week. I try to. but the day job makes it hard. And also running lots of D&D. But I go there and I do quick starts, I do map making, I do mini painting. It's basically all things like tabletop kind of thing. I dropped my Twitter into the chat. That's by far where I'm the most active. Feel free to ask me questions, tweet at me. I love the algorithm when it interacts with me.
All right, we're looking into the chat. The link didn't actually show up on my screen, so I think we have to look into it. But
give me a
we got a moderator and Don taking a look, so we might have you drop it again before we log off.
Sounds good.
In the meantime,
right underneath my name too, so
that's
you
true.
can
It is
find me
underneath
that
name.
way.
You pointed where it was. I pointed where it was, but it looks different because I'm pointing at my other screen, not at the screen I'm recording on. Anyways, we're gonna throw it over to Brian now. Quick little social plug as the creator of the game, where they can find you.
If you want to come talk, I'm on Twitter at Fight Guy Studio. You can also go over to the webpage Fighter Guy Studio.
Try it now.
FighterGuyStudios.com. And you can find my Twitter, my Instagram, my Ko-fi, itch, and all that stuff right there on the website.
That way. It's on that side.
That one, yeah, that's it. And look down here.
There we go. I gotta figure out which way to point to the right person on the screen.
Yeah, I think we fixed it. So if you want to drop your link again.
Oh, awesome! Cool.
Yep. Also, one more thing to remind you the plug before we go off. Your con on October 15th, right, Brian?
Yeah.
October 15th. Also, go to my webpage, sign up for the event. I will tell you, as of tomorrow, we are 30 days out. We're 1 month away. I am doing something. I'm doing something cool. I will tell y'all. I am doing a really awesome giveaway to someone who has already signed up for the con. I'll probably pick a random day, probably the 20th. So, but I'll announce it tomorrow. If you are signed up for the con, early door prize, and it is just stupid cool. I am so excited. It's so cool that it's not even created yet, but it's in the process of being created by one of the vendors who is coming to the con. So, totally worth it. It's like a $30 item.
So those of you here and listening have a little inside information to maybe jump in before the cutoff to be eligible for that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I'm throwing
get on that. There's a link getting thrown in there. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, we'll be back next week to finish up this adventure. Dawn and I are the DGG dynamic duo, and we like to stream people's indie games to try and get them a little more exposure and just to experience them ourselves. Don is a real systems nerd, so he loves it from that perspective, just getting to see different systems and how they apply. And I just like to play games.
Hey,
you're not wrong.
What's wrong with that?
That's right. I go. We have podcasts that have tips and tricks for players, and they are not TTRPG specific. We do mention things for specific games in them, but we like to try and keep our tips as system agnostic as we can. And so check those out. We got stuff for people that run games and people that play games. And we just finished a poll on Sunday on Twitter for what to name our live stream roundtable discussion. So we have the last Wednesday of each month right now. We have DGG Presents Random Encounters. And our first one featured Bjark DeBard, who was mentioned earlier in this, just kind of chatting with Dawn and I. Brian, he is also a guest star on our latest podcast series we have going out about smoother combat and memorable NPCs.
Yep.
And he is also joining us again the last Wednesday of this month, once again, to talk all things tabletop RPGs. We just kind of roundtable it, talk about whatever's on our minds, and we take questions from the chat or suggestions on things to talk about from the chat.
yeah, it's actually really cool because Literally just talk TTRPGs for like an hour or two.
I get my chat on Twitch likes to make me get really esoteric, usually in like the last half hour after I've been doing a quick start, and they start asking me questions about how I like to run games, and I'm just like, that's a whole nother like conversation, guys. And I tease them. I'm like, stop making me get esoteric on main, guys.
Yeah. We actually carved out a specific segment because every time we got to talking, it takes way longer than we'd normally have.
Hey, we kept to 30 minutes today.
Yeah.
We did. All right. So till next time, everyone, join us again. We're happy to have you. And
it was
we're out.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Stay legendary, folks, and take care.